What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing tonight's game between the Chicago Bulls and Minnesota Timberwolves. And of course, if you've seen any video like this in the past, you know that this is my Bulls report. Now, the Bulls are currently coming off of 2 losses, both to the New York Knicks, and tonight begin a road swing. And they was on the road facing off against the Timberwolves without Karl-Anthony Towns and without Rudy Gobert, but still, you have to worry about players like Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell. So the Bulls did start their usual suspects, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. So, after 2 losses, of course, you want to see the Bulls come out with more energy, more sense of urgency, better defensive rotations, and things of that nature in tonight's matchup. So, without further ado, of course, the game did start with a Zach LaVine 3. Vooch got an early touch. I believe his first shot of the game was from the left wing that he knocked down, but it started early. And by starting early, I mean guys like Naz Reid. He scored the first 10 points for the Timberwolves, and I kind of knew the writing was on the wall from there. Just watching defensive matchups early, just watching guys get open shots early on from Minnesota, and it was a telling story of guys not in the right position, guys not rotating, guys just not where they supposed to be on the floor when they're out there. So you did see a lot of ball movement from Chicago, things that during this season have led to them getting wins. You did see some man movement, but again, with Minnesota hitting the shots the way they were, it caused Billy Donovan to call a timeout. Not early in the quarter, but I believe it was around the 6:30 mark, 6:38, somewhere around there. Rein the guys back in, talk to them, see where their head's at, get the game plan back in motion, and go from there. So, which did happen in the first. And you saw the Wolves did go on a run, a 13-0 run, but Zach was in rhythm early. But this was a problem all night, which was the Wolves' three-point shooting, mainly D'Angelo Russell early in the game. But the Bulls bench did come in with Dragic, Drummond, Derrick Jones Jr., and Kobe White, and did get some good minutes and bench scoring going on early in the game. But the Bulls at one point was 5 of 11 from 3. They did in the first quarter up 34-32. Now, in the second quarter, you saw D'Angelo Russell start the quarter with a 3. Then DeMar DeRozan, to my surprise tonight, he was exceptionally well from 3, with his standard. DeRozan don't take a lot of 3s. So to see him, firing off from 3 and making them tonight was a good sign. Now, in the second quarter, basically it turned into a three-point shootout. There was a lot of back and forth 3s, whether it be Minnesota making 2, Chicago making 1, or vice versa, and things like that. You saw a lot of give and take from beyond the arc. Now, D'Angelo Russell was probably the hottest player in the first half, excuse me. Kobe White did get some good minutes, but the Bulls were down 10 in the second. You seen Patrick Williams get 3 early fouls in the first half. There was no paint presence by Chicago in the first half. You seen a lot of rim runs, especially by the guy Knight. It was a lot of pick and roll with him and D'Angelo Russell. No rotations from bigs to help or help to big. And it just looked bad for the Bulls in the closing minutes of the half. So I wasn't too concerned with some of the things I saw, but the Bulls were down by 6, 65-71 at the half. Now in the third, the Wolves did begin the half with a 3. This was the tall tale sign of the entire game. Again, Patrick Williams came back down with a 3. The Bulls go down by 16 at one point in the third. Now, when they did go down 16, this is where it looked ugly. It looked like the Wolves could not miss. I'm just randomly like throwing out numbers. I'm looking at how many threes that the Wolves are hitting. I'm telling myself, I'm like, oh, they hit 15 threes. And then the stat come up. They hit 15 threes. It was insane that nobody could miss, whether it was Austin Rivers, whether it was Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Kyle Anderson. It did Brent Forbes, Naz Reid. It did not matter who had on a Minnesota Timberwolves jersey. I could have went out there, I think, and hit threes for that team the way that they were making them. It just was insane. I didn't know which team I was watching. Was I watching the Warriors or was I watching the Timberwolves? It was insane tonight, to say the least. Now, when it came down to the fourth, I didn't want to forget this. Anthony Edwards did have a big third quarter. At one point, he scored 16 in the quarter and did hit a buzzer beater to end the third quarter off a bad inbound pass that I think the Bulls should have just, took what momentum they had going into the fourth. But Anthony Edwards did hit the last second three, and ultimately, that was basically, I felt like one of those gut punches, and that was that. The Bulls do make a push in the fourth, but that's all they did, make a push. They didn't get no closer than, I believe, somewhere around 8 in the fourth. But ultimately, tonight was not the Chicago Bulls' night, and the final score, I'm sad to say, it's upsetting, but the Bulls did give up 150 points tonight. The final score was 150 to 126. This is the Chicago Bulls' 18th loss in a row. So on the season, they are 11-18. As far as quarter scoring go, the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't score no less than 32 points in each quarter. So they scored 32 in the first, 39 in the second, 42 in the third, and 37 in the fourth. DeMar DeRozan did have 29, but Anthony Edwards was the game high scorer with 37. He was 13 of 25 from the field. When it comes down to a turnovers to rebounds, the Bulls did have 11 turnovers. Minnesota had 13. The Bulls did have 30 rebounds. Minnesota did have 39. As far as three-point shooting, Minnesota Timberwolves shot 53% from three, and the Bulls shot 42% from three. And when a team shoots that high from a percentage perspective, from three especially, you're not going to be able to beat that team. The chances of you winning that game is probably slim to none. And the Bulls just don't have, the amount of shooters that would have took them to be in that game. Overall, the Minnesota Timberwolves shot 65% for the game. 65%. Tonight, right? I'm going to get into the stats. Tonight was an overall embarrassment. If you are a Chicago Bull fan, if you are a fan of any one of these players that play for the Chicago Bulls currently, you are embarrassed. This game tonight was an absolute bludgeoning, an embarrassment, an absolute joke, especially coming off the 2 losses to New York in that fashion. Guys are not showing any effort. Guys are not showing no will. Guys look dejected. Guys look like the season is over. Guys look like they don't want to be there anymore. And honestly, I'm going to quote Michael Wilbon. I heard him say something. I believe it was in the game the other night. I don't know who was playing at the time. But the Bulls their highlights did roll, and I heard Wilbon say something. He said, if the Bulls are tanking, do it now while they have some pieces to sell off. The Alex Carusos, the Zach LaVines, the DeMar DeRozans, the Nikola Vucevic, and tank for Victor. Now, Wembanyama will proverbially be the number 1 pick. We all know that, right? Unless something changes. He will be the number 1 pick in next year's draft. The Chicago Bulls, in my opinion, at 11-18 are on the outside looking in of everything. should they decide to tank and just say, to hell with the season, and, do what they got to do to move forward with the franchise? I'm going to be honest, man. It would hurt to see them just give up on the season in that manner. But coming out and losing in this way, it's the same feeling. I'm not going to feel good tomorrow. I am not going to feel good. I don't feel good right now. So for the players that's out there and suit up and get on the floor, I'm going to be honest. If I was Billy Donovan, I would not play my starters in the next game. I would not play my starters at all in the next game. They will all be sitting next to me. That's the God honest truth. Because playing like this is basically like you don't have any starters anyway. Yes, DeMar DeRozan did have an impact on the game. But outside of that, who helped him? Let's get into it. Let's look at the stats. And let's look at who was out there and what was able to take shape. So you had DeRozan with 29, Nikola Vucevic with 23 and 9, Zach LaVine with 22. Still not enough. 126 points. Still not enough, even when your big three all score over 20. Still not enough. When you give up 150 points. When D'Angelo Russell goes 7 of 10 from 3. When Anthony Edwards goes 4 of 11 from 3. When Austin Rivers goes 4 of 6 from 3. When Brent Forbes goes 2 of 3 from 3. Jaden McDaniels goes 2 of 3. Naz Reid shoots 100% from 3. He did not score after the first quarter. He only played 12 minutes. So you tell me what's the problem. Bulls fans, talk to me. I'm going to be honest, man. This team, we're coming off of the excitement and high from last year. But I will say it in this video, as I said before. This is not last year. Lonzo Ball is not walking through that door. Michael Jordan is not walking through that door. What are we going to do? The guys that's out there to produce are not producing. You have to have some grit, determination. You guys are playing like you have none of that. $200 million. You can't play defense. It's an embarrassment. It's an absolute joke. How can you call yourself professional athletes and every night you come out with this type of effort? How can you represent a city like Chicago and a team with a history like the Bulls and you play like this nightly? This isn't just one night of laying the egg. This is several occasions. You come out and you beat a team like Dallas without Luka, then you turn around and you lose to Atlanta in overtime, the worst way. Then you lose to New York in overtime, the worst way. Then you show no effort in New York, with New York, the next game. Then tonight you play like you have no type of heart, no backbone. This team is an embarrassment. If they want to rebuild, do it now. Don't wait. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Chicago Bulls fans, Minnesota Timberwolves fans, basketball fans, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.